Welcome to this quick introduction video all about the smart board using iQ. So this will be on the MX boards that you've got or the RX boards running the iQ software itself here. So here I have got nothing plugged into the board itself. This is just when I turn it on using here, and it's just a kind of getting started with bits and pieces as well. So if we just start with a few buttons themselves, down the front here, you'll find the on and off button right at the edge. Find your volume buttons, the pause buttons, and there's also an input button there if you are changing to something else being plugged in. You can also use the ones at the front here. So if you are wanting to use the change the input, you have got that button there. It'll bring up the same, and then you can just select your inputs and change to be ones in that as well. What you'll also notice at the front down here is your home button. So anytime you're in an app, you can just press home, and then that will just minimize the apps, a bit like you do on your phone in that sort of sense there as well. And there are some different input ones at the side here as well, if you want to use those for plugging in additional devices as well. Of course, there's loads around the back to plug it in, kind of more of a long-term approach. But if you want that quick access, you have got those there as well. And of course, the pens at the front themselves. So within this board here, I have actually signed into my board here. So to sign into it is the person here, and then you'll have a QR code that pops up. You can scan that with your phone, iPad, or something, and then you'll be able to just authenticate it using your Google or your Microsoft logins, and then you'll be straight into the board itself here. If you're not logging in, then you can use the board, but it's going to be on a very open profile. So if you are signing into certain apps, then that will be like you make sure you sign out of all of those apps as well, because it's on that public interface. By logging in, it means you can then securely have your access to your content, like your Google and Microsoft things there, or any other apps, and then you can sign in, and then with just simply here, sign out, you'll leave that profile and no one can access your content from there as well. So, thoroughly recommend signing in. There's a few kind of sign in, kind of yes, I agree boxes, and then you'll be into this here. So then once you're up and running with the board here, there's a few kind of different apps I kind of just want to walk you through and just kind of make you aware of and how they all work, and a few bits in the settings, and then should be good to go and explore yourself. And of course, there is an academy online with loads more support, loads more training there. Again, I'll leave some links as well. So firstly, let's start with the whiteboard. So down here, I have got a whiteboard. So I can click on that, and of course, that is going to open up my whiteboard. And you can see that that just opens up this blank board to start with. And if you're familiar with using Smart at all, you'll know that the pen by default is going to be a pen. Your finger is going to be a finger. And actually, I can do that at the same time. And then if I want to erase, I could just use my large back of my hand or something like that. And then I can do that at the same time across there as well. It's not just picking up it's my hand at the moment. There we go. And then I can do that. And then that could all happen seamlessly for that as well. And then on the bottom down here, these are your tools. With the new interface, you can actually move this toolbar as well. Quite handy for moving it out of the way or in the way, depending on which way you want to look at it. And then just kind of moving across here, of course, you can open new files that are stored onto your board itself, or if you're using Lumia, you can connect it in there. There's some different pens, different thicknesses. If you're wanting to change your finger to be a pen, that is in pen here. So then my finger is going to be green, whereas my pen itself is going to be black. Just pick that up. And then I can do those at the same time for that as well. Let's just toggle it back. And then I've got a text pen, I've got a highlighter there. I've just got different thicknesses within that. If I want to select multiple objects, I have got that one there. If I want to add any images, I can do that straight from there. That can either search the board files, or of course I can search online. And it is a safe search. So whatever images you are searching for, or your learners will be a safe search within that. These three little dots here is just worth exploring for. And again, I'm kind of whizzing through all this. It's very much a go and play, rewatch this video, press pause and get to familiarize it with yourself. But just as an overview, I can share that either as a notebook lesson or a PDF. I can actually export it again the same way. If you're looking for different maths tools, I've got my ruler, my compass protractor within that there. Even if you're wanting to change to the squared paper or lined paper, I can have there, or different colors. I'm just choose from the picker there. Shapes, blank fill, erase all that content, and adding text within that as well. And again, you can customize that toolbar a little bit in that settings there. So there's a blank whiteboard. Go and play with it if you want to, and do anything kind of the annotations you would do on that dry white board. What's really great about this is this end section as well, that it's not just then that blank whiteboard. So by clicking on this plus button here, these are the same backgrounds that you might have seen in Lumio, you might have seen in Smart Notebook. So I can then just click on that and I can have my template pre-made for me. Again, great for organization in your classroom. You don't need to prepare these beforehand. Knowing that these are all in the classroom ready to go should make things a little bit more easier for yourselves. And of course, there's loads within there itself. You can use these. These manipulatables are great because then the bits at the bottom, and again, now I can move that out of the way, I can then just bring these up onto here, and these are infinitely cloned. Of course, if you want to make your own infinitely clones, you can just click on that object, and you have got that infinite clone on there as well. So I can use that one. And again, so then you can make your own backgrounds, you can make your own templates to make this nice and easy within here as well. Now I'm beginning to build up my lesson. You can see all those files in here, so then I can export it elsewhere. Or if I've built them beforehand, I can obviously bring it into here. And it's great with this little person here. This is a great way of actually sharing that content out to devices. Mine's not just loading at the moment. It's always great for a video like this. So that will bring up a QR code on there as well, and you can scan that QR code. You can get your students actually into the lessons so they can have it on their device. And then there's that two-way communications with their device as well, either as a whole class or individual for that as well. So minimizing this one, here I can press my home button, clicking on there down there, and then that's just close that whiteboard itself here. I have added a widget for that. So if I want to open up any of those quickly, I can add that using that widget itself. Those widgets, if you're familiar with Android on your phone, or even with iOS as well, I can just go to widgets here and I can add my own for that as well. And again, I can change the wallpaper if I want to customize that as well. The whiteboard that I've just done, you can see has stored in my recent files. So just by closing it, I can open it up again in my recent files there. Or of course, if I actually go to my file manager as well, down here, within there, these are the files, and I can access anything itself here. If I go into my Lumia lessons or I'm going to my Google Drive, I've got those there. Again, like I said at the beginning, if you're not signing into something, you will see them in the public area, but then everyone can access those as well. And then you've got folders and you've got all your normal organization with that as well. Again, clicking that home button, minimizing that files app, I'm on here. So the big step up with this version, this iQ4, is that it has got the Play Store and those Google services within that. So by clicking on the Play Store itself, I can then download any apps on here as well. You might need to kind of just go double check where you are with school policies, using the Google side and use the Microsoft side, whichever one see fits for you. And there are ways of managing this for the IT team, so it might be that needs to have a conversation there. But what I can do is then click on any of these apps. I can then click on install, and that will be available on my board here. I have done a few already, or quite a few. So you can see here I've got the Microsoft suite, I've got the Google suite within there as well. Any other apps that you're wanting, you can just add those, and as expected, you can then just move those around, move them onto different pages, so you organize them where you want to from there as well. But just to highlight a few within there, something like Teams. I can see all my teams in that straight within that. Or my OneDrive, I can have all of my files organized in here. I can access any of those straight from within that. Keeping on the Microsoft front, if you prefer to use Edge, you can use that and have that as a default. Or even actually going into a PowerPoint, pressing play on a PowerPoint, I can have that then straight within my board, and using the Microsoft ink, I can write on that as well. Using the inking on any of these apps, with the PowerPoint, you can use the Microsoft inking within that one there. But on any other app, even if I'm going on OneDrive, again, it's that same experience. Pick up the pen and just start writing. I can then write over the top of that. It's not going to write in the app, but it will write on it. And you'll see this little toolbar appearing here. So I can choose the color of the inks. So if I want to change any of those, then yes, I can. And that will be over the top of anything. So I'm going to do it over OneDrive. I could do it over anything itself there. And then I can just close that and either save it, and it's going to kind of take a print screen of that and save it to your files. Or of course, I can just discard it as well, which could be great when you're going into a web browser. And if you are looking for for example, you might be doing an educate lesson yourself and you're trying to kind of actually show how something works. Not quite sure where I was going with that, but there you go. I can show us how something works just by annotating over the top. If you want to save that example, again, you can do from here as well, or just erase that content with the back of your hand, the same way as we had done from beforehand. If you're wanting to open more than one app at a time with that split screen, that is also down the bottom here. So I can click on the split screen and then down here, split. So I'm splitting that page. So then I've got my web browser on that side, and I might want my whiteboard on that side as well. And let's just add in some, let's add a square page. There we are. Let's add a blank one. Blank page with squared paper. So now I've got the ability to kind of do the workings out from the educate homework as an example from here. If I want to move that to a side, I can move that here. I can then log in. I can have the questions coming up here and actually show these examples moving around that large page, so I can have all those annotations from that as well. So it's a great way to kind of smash those apps together and use those in a time here. You've also along the bottom down here, just whilst I've got these two up, I've got some great tools down here in this toolbox. And again, I'm kind of showing you all these possible things. Have a play with many of these, particularly some of these are great. It might be that I'm using that screen record. So I'm sharing the example next to the question, and then I can save that, put it onto OneDrive, Google Drive, wherever it might be, share it with them afterwards. Different bits within there itself. I've also got these great teaching tools at the top here, something like a dice that I can then bring over the top of any of these apps. I can move around where I wanted, click on that, and then that is my dice from there as well. You'll notice that there are a few more options. I can have 20-sided dice. I can have whatever I might want to have within here, and there's some kind of settings within that as well that I can have that and spin that, and those are my dice within there as well. Again, those are all in that teaching block. Some great resources within there as well. So again, closing all these apps, pressing that home button, minimizing that one there, coming back to that home screen where I can see all those apps that I can use from there, and then you can design and you can teach where you want to using any of those apps directly from in here. You will notice these dots at the bottom here. This is then your menu. So if you are looking for any app itself and you haven't saved it to the home screen, you have got all of these on here. There is the settings in there. There's other bits and pieces. Just have a look in there. Looking at that settings, for example, if I just started opening this Sudoku app, you might find occasionally that an app automatically goes like that. Something like this is obviously designed to using on a phone in that kind of portrait mode rather than landscape. You'll see that your controls look a bit strange there as well. So what I'm going to do is just to then change the orientation of that. So let's just click the home screen and I'm back here. Again, you've got that home button that can always take you back to this page. So let's just jump into our settings to try and fix that rotation. So now I can click on rotate. And there we are. It will take you right to where you want it to be on here as well. And then I can just toggle that one on. Then the next time I change between apps and open up my Sudoku, it will open up in the right way itself here. I can then obviously play that game itself here. And then straight from within here, that is where I can kind of circle, say we've got a 6 here, we've got a 6 here, and there's a 6 here, so my 6 is going to be there, for example. I can then rub out those and carry on working that out. So using that pen, using the smart kind of tools, along with any of the apps itself, is a great way of moving them together. And then, of course, if I am then saving that, then that's going to be saved to my files that I can then share with everybody else as well. I can even bring that into the whiteboard and carry on annotating it using it as a shared whiteboard. Loads of possibilities for there. Again, pressing that home button, minimizing that app. So some great ways to kind of get you started with this iQ itself here as well. The other one, just to kind of finally look at here, is my screen share. So it's smart mirror. And within this itself here, this is the screen mirror. So if you're doing this from an Android device, you might be clicking on the top and clicking cast. You will see the name of the board itself, and then you can go straight to this one. Or you might pull down from the top and click on screen mirroring on iOS, and then cast straight from here. If it's not showing up, it might be on a different network. So you might need to download the Smart Mirror app, Or of course, you can go to that website there, smartmirror.link, and share from any device, and then that will cast you up on here as well. There are a few things within the settings itself, particularly looking at different people connecting, or if you're wanting to um, on there. If you're wanting to actually this moderator mode here, so do you want for permissions before the children come into it, or do you want them to just log into the board itself? So just have a look at those and how you want that to set it up. Students' devices will then appear at the side here, and then you can click on which ones you want to actually go full screen, and you can collect multiples to the board itself. Screen button, and you're then back home. Clicking on my person here, I then sign out, and I'm now completely signed out of that board itself. I'm now on the public view itself. I haven't got any of my apps installed. If I go to files, I've got nothing logged in here, and it's just asking me to sign in. So again, completely safe, completely secure. When I'm leaving that, I'm taking all that content with me as well. So hopefully that's just been a quick overview to the iQ4 on the smartboard MX or RX if you're using those. If you want any more, again, I'm going to leave links below to the Academy so you can go through and be certified and actually get a bit more depth over this as well. Of course, drop me an email. I'm more than happy to support that way as well. Thanks very much. Goodbye.